up, everybody? Welcome to a live stream here at Electrical Code Academy, Master the NEC Live. My name's Paul Abernathy, and thanks for joining me here on Thursday night for another episode of the Master the NEC Live broadcast. This is episode 2 of this series. So thanks for joining me. We have a great show tonight. I'm going to show you all a tool that might just make your job a little easier as far as navigating and learning things in the National Electrical Code, but also you're going to see that this is a pretty nifty little tool to be able to ask pretty much anything you want and you'll get an answer. Now, I'll say that with a caveat that even the answers that you get back, sometimes, again, do the little research because sometimes it's, might be a little bit wonky, but from my testing, it is about 90% right on there on most of the things that I plug into it and do it. Now, this is something that's also free. You're not going to have to pay for. Now, there'll be people out there that will try to sell you something, but that is not what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to be most certainly talking about the ability to use the free one, but there are people out there that will try to sell you a software that does this as well. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to make a couple announcements tonight for those out there that follow me that are on our different platforms. I want to make another kind of announcement to kind of clarify the websites that we have and what they're for and how you're supposed to utilize them, because I still get a lot of questions from folks about, I'm on the old site and my passwords and stuff won't work on the new site. And also, I'm going to make very quick statements about that and get that done with here in this episode. I can also make an announcement of another purchase that we've done. I was waiting on it, but it's done. So it's not ready, but it's done. And we're still working on the site, but I will mention it anyway. And that one is going to round out our suite of tools that we're trying to do for the marketing aspect for people out there who are trying to build their business. So the only last tool I'm trying to work on is our own estimating tool. But right now, that's so far down the road that I don't even want to talk about something like that. So anyway, hey, welcome everybody. I hope your week has gone great. We're at the latter end of it. We're coming up on tomorrow is Friday, and then we got the weekend. So I'm excited. Hopefully y'all have had a great week, and we have as well. Last night, we had the Fast Tracks Wednesday. Great session again. Got into some deep topics, sometimes deeper than I want to get when you're not prepared to be able to present information the way that you want. But, we flow with it, and that's how we roll. And it was a great session. In fact, we have so many ways that you can actually interact now, whether it's our fasttrackschat.com or the sparkyhub.com or whatever. So again, there's so many ways for you to interact with other electricians, not just us, okay? And that's what I want to talk about tonight, because sometimes people think that I'm trying to make a sales pitch for our courses. That is not why we generated the Fast Tracks chat, and that is not why we did the Sparky Hub. And I'll explain that in a little bit, because I don't want you to think you have to buy a course from us. You have to do that, because you don't, all right? Even though we appreciate it, you don't have to. And I'm going to explain all that, because there are people out there who want to go to these things, but they might not want to purchase our course. You don't have to, and that's the reason why we've done what we've done with the different sites. I'll explain that later. Okay, let's get into tonight, the big topic tonight. So artificial intelligence has become the hot topic here as of late. And the ability, we say artificial intelligence means we're thinking artificial or AI is that it just autonomously does whatever and thinks on its own and things like that. So AI is very popular. And there's this software out there now that you can get called GTP or GPT. I can't remember which one it is real quick. Let me see. GPT. And basically, it's an intelligent software that is free. It works off your phone. It works off a desktop, laptop, whatever. And it's quite interesting. We're going to try it out tonight and put it through some paces. And so what I'm going to ask you is get your typing fingers ready, because I want you to start typing just some random questions. Maybe even you know the answer. Type some random question that you want to ask this thing into the chat box, and I will take it and I will put it into the software, and we can see how accurate it is, what it comes back. Maybe you want to know something about something like, oh, what is Bitcoin? Or maybe you want to know, how does this work? Or can you explain this easier? Or it can be electrical, it can be whatever you want. But I want you to think of some things, put it in the chat, and let's test this thing out. Now, some of you might say, well, if I'm in the electrical trade or a plumber, mechanical, those type of things, I want to test it out to see if it brings relevant responses, intelligent responses to the questions that I ask, like, can you explain section what of the code or this of the code? Things like that. So we're going to try a couple of those and we'll see how it does. And I'm going to be watching it to see what happens, that type of thing. So we're going to see how intelligent it can be. Now, I don't expect it to be the code guru and pull back everything. I imagine on some of these, it'll probably say, seek consultant or seek whatever, but we're going to try. But it doesn't have to be electrical related topic. Type anything you want in there, and as they show up, I will take them and now we will put them in the chat, and we will see what it generates. Okay. So before I even get into that, I want to show you the website. I want to show you the URL that you need to write this down, because you're going to need this if you want to get an account and you want to play with this software. All right, so I'm going to share it with you right here. So here on the screen, where is it? Right here, right here. It's called openai.com. So write that down, OpenAI. So this is openartificialintelligence.com. Now this company is what created this, and a lot of other ones, people are using the source code to create other products. Now, using this can be, sometimes it can be hit or miss as far as if you can get a log on, even after you get a free account. The reason for that is so many people are using it right now. It is the hottest thing, AI. And let me kind of tell you what it does. So what it does is that the internet is vast, and there's articles on everything you can imagine out there, right? Everybody goes to the internet to find answers, right? Because the internet's always right? Isn't that the saying is? Internet's always correct. So there's so much vast knowledge out there, but as I warn people, there's also a lot of stuff that gets shared out there that is total BS. And I wonder whether or not this AI tool will actually pull up the BS. So we're going to put it through its paces tonight in this first segment of the show, and see what it can do. All right. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to spend the lion's share trying to do, and seeing what kind of information that it pulls up. But remember, think of some topics, anything you want. Is there a question out there you were asking about something? What is triplet harmonics? Let's see here. I'm giving you some ideas here. Let's see here is what is the difference between AC and DC current? Or please explain the history of the electrical wars, and see if it comes back and talks about Tesla and talks about Thomas Edison. Those are the kind of things. Just type them in the chat, and I'll feed them in there, and let's see what we get, because I think it's going to be interesting. The ultimate goal here is to see if we can give you another tool that I'm bringing to you aware of that you can use to help you answer questions. But I can tell you right now, this tool has already helped me write blogs. So what I do is I don't take it 100%. I will put in there what I'm searching for. Okay, I kind of lead it along, give it kind of a sentence, and then I let it generate it, and then I cut it and paste it into my blog, and then I edit it. I get rid of what I don't like, I add what I want. If something doesn't sound right to me, I change it. But what it's done is it's allowed me to cut down my authoring time vastly, okay? And it's pretty good returns. So y'all ready? Let's go take a look at it real quick. There's a good one. Who invented the radio? There you go. That's a good one. Keep them coming in the chat. Just simply anything you can think of while I'm doing this. throw it in the chat. Is there something that you've argued with your wife or your significant other or your son or somebody, and you're like, I want to know the answer to this. I want to know what this means, or I've always wanted to know what. Type it in there, and I will put it in there and see what we can get. All right, so without further ado, let's go on and bring it up. So if you go to openai.com, okay, then this is what you're going to end up getting right here. So this is what it looks like. So this is called ChatGPT, and you can get an account. See, it has an upgraded plan for $20 a month. You can get it, and you never have to worry about interruptions during a busy cycle. I haven't had a problem with it yet, but if I start writing a lot of additional content to educate and do training, then I might invest in it, but I'm still seeing how intelligent it is, because I can write all this stuff, but it consumes a lot of time. So right now, I'm just going to try it and see what we get on it right here. Okay. So let's see here. Let me go on and get over to the chat here. All right, so one of the questions we have here, let's see here. All right, so let's show this one on the screen here. Schwartzy says, what type of meter would you use to measure the resistance of a ground rod? Okay, good question. All right, so let's see here. Let me go on in, because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to type all these. Okay, so let me go on and get over to the chat real quick. All right, make sure I get what you want to say. What type of meter would you use to measure the resistance of a ground rod? Okay, we'll just kind of go with that. Sorry. What type of meter would I use to measure the resistance of a ground rod? Okay, so can you all see that? We kind of type that in. You can't see it because it's hidden behind Schwartzy's thing. That's all right. A good question might come to you. Oh, we'll get to yours. I see it there. I just happen to see Michael's first. So, all right. So Michael, it says, what type of meter would I use to measure the resistance of a ground rod? Pretty much similar to what you typed. Okay. So let's go and see what it comes back as. So I'm going to click it, and here's what it goes. It says the resistance, to measure the resistance of a ground rod, you would typically use a multimeter that is capable of measuring resistance, also known as an ohm meter. The multimeter can be either a digital or an analog. When using a multimeter, you simply connect the probes to the ground rod, and to the meter will display the resistance in ohms. Analog meters, okay? All right, so my response to this is, okay, so if you don't like that response, you can click regenerate response. I don't like this response. You know, why do you think I wouldn't like this response? Because you typically would not use an ohm meter to measure the ground resistance. Okay, now if you're just measuring, so the question can be misleading, because if you were just measuring the resistance of something like maybe a ground rod, then you probably can use an ohm meter for that. But what Michael is asking is really, he's trying to determine whether or not we get the 25 ohms. So that how do we measure ground resistance is more of the question. So check this out. I will do a follow-up question. So here's what's neat about this. But what meter would you use to measure the ground resistance in ohms for a ground rod? All right, so it's going to come back. All right, see how I led it in another question? Now look what it's saying. It says to measure the ground resistance of a ground rod in ohms, you would use a device called a ground resistance sensor, also known as a ground resistance meter, earth meter, or soil resistivity meter. The ground resistance meter measures the resistance between the ground rod and the earth by sending current through the ground rod and measuring the voltage drop. The resistance is then calculated using Ohm's law, where V is the voltage, I is the current, R is the resistance. Ground resistant testers typically have 3 to 4 electrodes, including a current electrode, potential electrodes, and sometimes guard electrodes. They are designed specifically for measuring the resistance of grounding systems and provide a more accurate and reliable measurement compared to a standard multimeter. Okay, So if you ask me, that right there is pretty damn good, because we asked the first question. So this is why I typed the question the way Michael wrote it. You ever heard that old saying, crap in is crap out? It's only going to give you responses back tailored to what you're really trying to ask. If we were literally trying to measure the resistance of a ground rod, it's no different than how we might measure the resistance of a conductor, right? But since we have to measure more than that, we're measuring the ground rod as it is connected to the earth and its return path. And so we have 3-point fall of potential, 4-point fall of potential ground resistive meters, and we have the ones that you can simply clamp over top of the grounding electrode conductor as well. So we have these different resistance, different meters that we can use, right? So I think that is a great response. But here's the neat thing about this AI technology. We could even expand on that question, okay? And so I might say, don't they make a ground clamp device to measure the resistance? And see what she comes. Anyway, yes, you are correct. I apologize for the oversight in my previous response. A ground clamp is a type of device used to measure the resistance of a grounding system. It is also known as the ground resistance clamp meter, earth clamp meter, or ground rod. A clamp meter works by clamping onto the ground rod. Okay, sorry, that's what I said earlier. The grounding electrode conductor is actually at the rod, and injects a current into the earth, and again measures the value. Okay. Ground clamp meters are portable, easy to use, make them a convenient tool, but I'm not going to say that they're cost effective because they're not. They're expensive, okay? Now, maybe I didn't like key response. Then I can click regenerate response. Now, watch this. It says, yes, you are correct. A ground clamp is a type of ground clamp tester that is specifically designed to measure the resistance of a ground rod. A ground clamp tester typically consists of a clamp. So it's changing, it's reading and learning in the process, right? So the interesting and neat thing about this is that that's a lot of text. We didn't write any of it. All we did is ask it a question. So to me, even with that is amazing. Okay, so let's see here. So we've got another question. We'll go on and clear this one. And we'll ask a new question down here. Let's see, who do we got here? Okay, I see yours, O, but let's kind of working my way up. Okay, that's a good one. How do turtles breathe underwater? Do they breathe underwater? Because I don't think they breathe underwater, but I'm going to type it in. It's a trick question there. How do turtles breathe underwater? Okay, let's see what they say. Turtles are air-breathing reptiles, but they are also capable of holding their breath underwater for long periods of time. While they are underwater, they extract oxygen from the water through special cells in the lining of their mouth and throat called whatever that is, cavity. The water flows over these cells, allowing the turtle to extract the dissolved oxygen and transplant it into the bloodstream, where it distributes into the cells in the tissue. Okay, the ability to extract oxygen from the water allows turtles to spend extended periods of time underwater, but they still need to come up to the surface to breathe air, as the amount of oxygen they can extract from the water is limited. The frequency of which they need to surface to breathe air depends on several factors, including the species of turtle, the temperature of the water, and their level of activity. Some turtles can hold their breath for several hours, while others may need to come to the surface after only a few minutes underwater. Look, if you ask me, that right there is amazing, because if somebody always says, what's the secret of life? I'm interested to type in there and say, hey, what is the secret of life? And I'm interested to see what this person has to say. And really, we're getting some great questions that are coming in. Post them. All right, let me go to O's question right here. Oh, moving up, let me go to ZS's question here, and I'll show you that question here before I type it. Who invented the radio? Great question. Let's say somebody didn't know who invented the radio. So let's see here. I'm going to clear this one out and we'll do another one. All right, let's do one. Who invented, oops, I got to spell it right. Who invented the radio? Question mark. Let's see what we get. The invention of the radio is credited to an Italian physicist and inventor, Guglielmo Marconi. Well, I knew it was Marconi, but I didn't know his first name there. In 1895, okay? And Marconi succeeded in sending a wireless signal over a distance of about 1.5 miles. And by 1901, he was able to transmit signals across the Atlantic Ocean. Marconi's successful demonstration of this technology paved the way for the widespread adoption of the radio for communication, and he is often referred to as the father of radio. Well, of course, you all know my response to this, and I'm going to type this. But didn't Marconi steal the idea from Tesla? Let's see what the AI says. But didn't Marconi steal the idea of the radio from Tesla? I'm going to cause this thing to have a fight, probably. All right, it says, while Marconi is the widely credited as the inventor of the radio, there is a long-standing debate about the extent of which he built upon the work of other inventors, including Nikola Tesla. Tesla was a Serbian-American inventor and engineer. We all know who Tesla was, who made important contributions to the development of electrical and wireless technologies in the late 19th and early 20th century. He has filed several patents for wireless communication systems in 1880 and 1890, and he had demonstrated the transmission of wireless signal in his laboratory in 1893. However, Marconi is credited with the invention of the radio because he was the first to successfully transmit wireless signals over long distances and to develop a practical and commercially successful system for wireless communication. Okay. So in 1943, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Marconi's patent of the invention of the radio was based on a prior work of several other inventors, including Tesla, and that Marconi did not have the exclusive rights to the invention of the radio. Despite the ruling, Marconi is still widely considered as the inventor of the radio. All right. So I guess the technology, okay, again, think of, I see your response here. Hold on. Let me show your response since it was your question, I think, or it might not. He said, I believe it was wrong. It was Tesla. Well, we believe, but in this case, it gave the court reference. So the inventor, so Marconi was able to put something together and do long distances, and that's why he's attributed it. But what Tesla did is created the different ways to do it, and Marconi just built on Tesla's work. A lot of people do that. They build on top of other people's work. But if you look at the thing, do you actually give Tesla the credit for it if he only created things in a lab? Or do you give credit to the guy that actually demonstrated it and made it practical and sent it long distances for its intended purpose? Y'all know I'm a huge Tesla fan, but I don't know. I think Marconi probably is the one that demonstrated the process, and that's why he's considered the father of the radio. I think he couldn't have done that without the work of Tesla. Okay, so it's great responses, and we could keep building on these. So the point of tonight's episode really was to kind of introduce to this software that is free, and you work it on your phone, and so you can ask an electrical question on it. So let's get to O's. It says, what is the permitted conduit fill for a nipple 24 inches or less? Okay, so let's go on and regenerate a new one. Let's see, what is the permitted conduit fill for a nipple that is 24 inches or less? Let's see what it brings up. All right, so here's what it brought up. Now it says a permitted conduit fill for a nipple that is 24 inches depends on the size of the conduit. And I, as an electrical guy, always question when they say National Electric Code, that type of thing, right? So it says, anyway, it says size for the conduit and the type of wire being used. According to the National Electric Code, this is National Electrical Code, the maximum conduit fill for conductors in a conduit is 40%. For conduit sizes up to and including 1 inch, and 50% of conduit. I don't like this answer. So it's a good question. But when I'm doing this, I might have asked it differently. But this is also a learning tool. Okay. It learns and it's going to make it better. So I don't know how much information is in this thing about the NEC. Okay. But I'm going to correct him here, right? It's important to note that the maximum conduit fill is dependent on the type of wire used. For example, solid, okay. I don't like it. So now I'm going to regenerate and see what else we get. All right, so it's giving me the 40% for when you have over 2 conductors in there, that type of thing. It's giving me 53, but it's not giving me, so here I'm going to do a response, right? But isn't the raceway fill for a nipple up to 60%? Based on the NEC. Okay, it says, yes, you are correct. My apologies for the mistake in my previous response. The maximum permitted conduit fill for a nipple at any length, including those 24 inches or less, is 60% according to the National Electrical Code. These applies to all raceways, including EMT, IMC, and EMC. It's always a good idea to verify the fill requirements for your specific application in the NEC as a complex set of regulations. Okay, so I set her straight or him straight or whatever, right? So I will do a thumbs up. It says the permitted raceway fill for raceways 24 inches or less is 60% based on the National Electrical Code. Okay. All right. So I'm going to send that as feedback. Okay. So I am helping develop it. Okay. Now we did not want this. This is not designed to take the place of an electrician. Okay. A code expert. That is not what it's there for. Okay. But good one. Any more electrical ones you want? I'm going to type in one. It says, let's see here. Explain what needs to be GFCI protected in a single family dwelling. And let's see what it says. Okay, it's working. All right, it's working. Might not be that, you know, hey, but if you were somebody doing an article or you were doing something, just think of how much time this thing would save you. I'm not doing anything, dude. It's just typing itself. Okay. So remember, when we're asking the questions, a lot of times us code folk, we're trying to ask it questions that we know and we want to see how it. Remember, this is not an electrician. It's pulling information from sources on the internet and trying to give you a response. So by no means do I feel this is anything to do with a replacement for folks like me. That's not, you know, heaven forbid that happens. But what it is looking at a way that it might help you write an article. It might help you find an answer to something. You're sitting there and you're wondering something and you hear about it and you're like, what is that? What does that mean? Okay, what does harmonic currents mean? And you can type things like that in there to get an understanding of it, right? That type of thing. So let's see what it says here. Okay. And I don't expect it to cover all the locations, but it's a good start. It says here, single-family dwelling contains electrical outlets and circuits that are required to be protected by ground fault circuit interrupter for safety reasons. I got that part right. It says, the purpose of GFCI is to quickly detect and interrupt electrical current in the event of a ground fault, which can reduce the risk of electric shocks, electrocution, and fire. The following areas in a single-family dwelling typically require GFCI protection: bathrooms, all outlets located within 6 feet of the edge of the bathtub or shower must be GFCI protected. Of course, all receptacles in a bathroom have to be GFCI protected. Kitchens, all outlets located within 6 feet of the sink must be. So this is very broad, right? This is obviously, this AI is not pulling it from my websites, that's for sure, because obviously it would be like freaking 10 paragraphs long, right? Or pulling from my blogs or whatnot. But it kind of gives you a little bit of understanding. Now, why did I want to show this part to you tonight? Because you know what? You're going to have questions on all different types of things, and this can be a good resource. Is it going to solve everything? No, but it is a good resource to kind of help you. You might want to know, what is the difference between, can you explain alternating current? Okay, or can you please explain to me in simple, you can ask it things like, explain to me in simple terms. Oh my God, Michael, that question's so long, and I'd have to type it out by hand because I can't cut and paste it. Holy crap. I'm not even sure how you would send me that. Gee, many crickets, Michael. Wow. Gee, Mike, I can't even get that one because I can't cut and paste it. The small ones I can do. The big ones, man, that's a tough one, Mike. I'll try to see if I can paraphrase that down. But anyway, this is what this thing is all about, and I just wanted to show y'all kind of what it did. So it's not going to cover everything, so I can even regenerate it again, see what it comes up with. All right, well, look at this one. All electrical outlets in bathrooms must be GFCI protected to reduce the risk. Okay, I like that better. Kitchens, all outlets within 6 feet of the sink. That includes countertop. Okay, so far. Garages, all outlets in garages, include those. Okay. Outdoor outlets, all outdoor. Okay. Basements, all outlets in unfinished basements. Of course, that's changed now. It's also finished basements. Laundry areas. So again, it's learning. And I could probably regenerate it again. So it's not perfect, but I just wanted to, I thought it'd be a neat episode to share it with you and kind of see how it goes in here. Okay. So anyway, enough of that one. So you can see that's a long form question it could ask. But I will tell you this, it's the more detailed the question, then it gives you more accurate results, right? Let me see, Michael. Let me see if I can, can't see it here. Was Michael Faraday scientific work in study of electromagnetism widely accepted? Okay, let's see if I can do that here. I think I can type that one. Was the work of Michael Faraday widely accepted? Let's see what else you got, Mike. Hold on for a quick. Let's see. Was Michael AEL? AEL, yeah, that's right. Faraday scientific work of electromagnetism. Work on electromagnetism widely accepted. See, widely accepted by the scientific community. We'll shorten it to that. The community well, let's keep it at that. Let's not tell him. Let's not say anything, Michael, about, let's kind of test her. Let's not say anything about the year and help them out. Let's see if we ask her, was Michael Faraday's work accepted? Okay, and see what we get. So was the work of Michael Faraday on electrical magnetism widely accepted by the scientific community when his work was published? Okay, let's see what we get for that. All right, it says that yes, the work of Michael Faraday on electromagnetism was widely accepted by the scientific community when it was published. Faraday's experiments and discoveries in the field of electromagnetism were groundbreaking, and they laid the foundation for much of the modern understanding of electricity and magnetism. Faraday's work was widely recognized and respected by his peers, and it quickly became an important part of the scientific canon. His experiments and insight helped to establish electromagnetism as a field of study, and his work continues to be cited, used in science and engineers to this day. Let's see, did he face any critics? It says yes, Michael Faraday faced some criticism during his career. While his work was widely accepted by the scientific community, there were some that criticized his theories and methods. Some of his contemporary scientists, such as William Thomson, later known as Lord Kelvin, had differing views on the nature of electricity and magnetism, and they challenged Faraday's ideas. However, Faraday's work stood the test of time and was eventually confirmed by further experimentation and scientific investigation. His contributions to the field of electromagnetism remains widely regarded to this day, and his legacy continues to inspire new generations of scientists and engineers. Despite the criticism he faced, Faraday was a tenacious and determined researcher who never let the work be swayed by the opinions of others. He maintained his focus on the experiments, and his pursuit of knowledge and his perseverance and dedication have made him one of the most revered and influential scientists in history. Okay? Right? So, Michael, was that in line with what you thought it would say? I don't know. I don't do a lot of research and reading on I'm aware of it, but I'm not a historian, so I don't do a lot of that. So would that be consistent? You ask it, so does that mean you read it somewhere that everybody hated his guts and thought he was a quack? Everybody thinks everybody's a quack back then when you have some kind of theory, and being a theory is what it is. Or a hypothesis, okay? Oh my God, that's a good one. I am going to ask that one, ZS. I am going to ask that one just because I want to see what's on the internet or what it pulls. You can bet your butt I'm going to ask that one. But Michael, tell me what you thought about that response. Kinda. Okay. Is there a follow-up question that you want me to ask it? Because that's how we're kind of generating it. And it's generating its AI. Is there any follow-up thing you'd want to say to it? And while you're doing that, I'm gonna go on and because we can add to that one. I'm going to actually start a new one, and I'm going to add a new one here. And let's see here. Let's see here if I can do a. Let's see here. Let me start a new one here. Okay. So the next question, while Michael's thinking about that, here's a question that came up. It says, was Corn Pop really a bad dude? Okay, so I'm going to say, was Corn Pop, oh man, was Corn Pop really a bad, God, I can't type, bad dude? Okay. Oh my Lord, there must be a real Corn Pop out there. I know. Okay. I'm shocked at this now. So the information available about Corn Pop, also known as cornbread, is limited, and some of it is conflicting. According to recent articles in the Atlantic, Corn Pop was a member of the Philadelphia street gang in the 1960s, who was known for his tough reputation. However, the same articles noted that some of Corn Pop's former associates have described him as a mentor and positive influence in their lives. I guess what's crazy about this is that there was actually somebody out there named Corn Pop, and it's not the one that the president was obviously probably talking about. It's worth noting that street gangs and youth organizations in urban areas during the 1960s were often involved in criminal activity, yada yada yada. So I guess he was a bad dude. So I want to do a regeneration and see if it says something else. Okay. Well, this one says that Corn Pop is a reference to a story involving the civil rights leader and politician John Lewis, who passed away in 2020. I'm letting it write. I'm just watching it. It says, in a confrontation, Corn Pop challenged him to a fight, but Lewis was able to talk him down and eventually gained his respect. The encounter helped diffuse the potentially violent situation and demonstrate Lewis's bravery and ability. You know, I'm going to ask a question. Is this the same Corn Pop that President Biden is referring to? Is talking about? Can't help it. I have to ask. Okay. Yeah, I'm having a conversation with this computer here. It says, yes, President Biden had recently mentioned the story of Corn Pop in reference to John Lewis. During his presidency, Biden was spoken out. Lewis and his legacy as a civil rights leader and champion for justice. And he shared the story of the encounter at the swimming pool as an example of Lewis's bravery and leadership. Biden is also paid tribute to Lewis's legacy. But, you know, I got to follow up to that. But didn't Biden say he had a run-in with Corn Pop? I really should have gone down this little hole. Yes, President Biden has claimed that he had a personal encounter with Corn Pop at the same swimming pool in Wilmington, Delaware, that the incident that John Lewis took place. According to Biden, he was a lifeguard at the pool at the time, and he witnessed the confrontation between Lewis and Corn Pop. Biden has said that the incident made a lasting impression on him and helped shape his views on racial justice and equality. And it's worth noting that some of Biden's accounts for the incident have been called into question, no doubt. And at the end of the day, that's not the only thing that's been called into question. All right. So anyway, good question. That was neat. Kind of going down that. There was obviously a Corn Pop, and he obviously hung around a swimming pool and caused trouble in the neighborhood. So he's moving in with his auntie and uncle in Bel Air, I guess, or something like that. All right. Anyway, so that was pretty cool. Questions like that, but that's not really one that I would ask it. But hey, I'm glad I could ask it for you. One of the questions I want to ask is, explain the properties of harmonic distortion. Okay. Harmonic distortion is a phenomenon that occurs when waveform deviates from the original waveform shape due to the introduction of additional frequency components. That's our harmonics. Kind of what I was explaining last night in our Fast Tracks Wednesday, that the harmonics, it creates harmonic distortion and it distorts the waveform. If it creates a distortion in the waveform, then you don't have cancellations that takes place, and that's why neutrals can have a certain elevated level of current flowing. Wow, this is a long one. It's still going. Okay. So again, harmonic distortion can be defined in the terms of the amplitude, frequency, yep, harmonic order, yep. You know, Phasing, the phase relationship between the original waveform and the harmonic distortion currents, which can receive sound quality of distortion. Okay. Total harmonic distortion. Okay. Now watch my follow-up here. I'm going to say, how does harmonic distortion affect the neutral conductor in a three-phase electrical system? I am interested to see what it. Y'all get my point on this is so interesting. And there's what I've talked about, increased currents. That's what I was explaining last night. So so this tool is only going to be as good as you writing the right question. But here's the beautiful thing about it, folks. If it's not the right question, you can follow up and clarify your question, and it will continue on and try to give you the best results. Okay. So that's, look, it's still writing. So at the end of the day, it's a free tool. It's a free thing that's available to all of you, and you can get it. All you got to do is go to this address right here on the screen. But anyway, what does it do? Okay, so harmonic distortion in a three-phase electrical system can affect the neutral conductor in many ways. The following are some of the ways that harmonic distortion can impact the neutral conductor. Increased currents. Harmonic distortion in a three-phase electrical system can result in increased currents on the neutral conductor. So have y'all all heard of a situation where you have an oversized neutral, or what we call a super neutral? Y'all have heard of that before, right? Well, it's because the waveforms can't cancel out. The neutral ends up not carrying the imbalance from the other phases. It ends up carrying more current. In some cases, can carry as much, if not more, than the phase conductors. So this is because the harmonic components generated by nonlinear loads can add up to the neutral conductor, leading to increased current levels. So linear loads like motors, they follow the normal sinusoidal waveform. Nonlinear cause a distortion in the waveform, and the contribution of that frequency is basically what harmonics are. It can cause more current to travel on the neutral conductor. This is why you might see a system that has a lot of computers, a lot of nonlinear loads, variable frequency drives. And have you ever noticed that the neutrals on those circuits were white and now they're kind of brown, or they're kind of gray, but it's still white? Okay, because it's overloading that neutral. Okay. And here's overloading. The increased current level on the neutral can result in overloading, which can cause the neutral conductor to heat up and potentially lead to failure. Okay, that's why you'll notice that in 220.61 that there's a permitted reduction and there is reductions that are not permitted. And again, depending on the type of system you have, then you're not allowed to reduce the size of the grounded conductor, right? So again, makes sense depending on the type of system you're dealing with. Or if you have a certain amount of what's called nonlinear loads, right? Anyway, imbalance. Harmonic distortion can cause the imbalance in a three-phase system, which can result in increased current levels in the neutral conductor. We kind of covered that, right? So anyway, that is neat information. So again, whatever you put in, you'll get out. And you can even fine tune that, okay? All right, so another question that was asked. Let's see here. What is the difference between series and parallel wiring, or you want to say circuits? Okay, all right, let's see here. We'll go do a new one here. What is the, now let's do explain. Explain the difference in an electrical series circuit versus a electrical parallel circuit. And let's see what that brings up. All right, it says, in an electrical circuit, the terms series and parallel describe the arrangement of the components, resistors, capacitors, blah, 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 and how they are connected to each other. In a series circuit, the components are connected end to end, okay, series, to form a single path for electrons to flow, okay? Kind of flows through. That's a series circuit. The circuit throughout all components is the same, but the voltage across each component can be different. The total resistance in a series circuit equals the sum of the individual resistance. That is true. That is correct. Now it says in parallel circuits, the components are connected so that each one is on a separate branch, and the branches are connected to both ends to the power supply. Okay, so it's kind of like if you think of a ladder and the rungs are the loads, it's connected to each side of the branch. It says the voltage across each component is the same, but the current through each component can be different. The total resistance in a parallel circuit can be calculated using Ohm's law and is equal to the reciprocal of the sum of the reciprocals in an individual resistance. It's important to note that the type of circuit you choose to use will depend on the specific application and the desired outcome. Okay, all right. So let's see here. Let's say you were to take this, and I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna go down here and paste this in here. All right, it says, please explain, please elaborate on the following quote. All right, now I'm just testing some stuff here. I want to see what it does if I put quotes in there. All right, it says the quoted statement refers. That's so neat. It found the quote. It says the quoted statement refers to the calculation of the total resistance in a parallel circuit. The reciprocal is the number of a number is defined as 1 divided by that number. For example, the reciprocal of 2 is 1 divided by 2. The reciprocal of 4 is 1 divided by 4. In parallel circuits, the total resistance can be calculated as a reciprocal of the sum. All right, it's going too fast for me. Sum of the reciprocals of an individual resistance. In other words, you take the reciprocal of each resistance value, add those values up, and then take the reciprocal of the sum. This gives you the total resistance of the circuit, okay? And it's giving you an example down here. So it actually did give an example. So it says the reason for the calculation is due to the nature of the connections in a parallel circuit. If a parallel circuit, the components are connected so that the same voltage is across each one. That's correct. This means that the current through each component is proportional to the resistance. By finding the total resistance of the circuit, we can determine the total current and the total voltage across the circuit. For example, if you have two resistors, okay, in a parallel circuit with resistance values of R1 and R2, the total resistance of the circuit would be given as R over 1 equals R. The total resistance is R divided by R1 plus 1 divided by R2. R2 is the total resistance of the circuit, okay? Now, we could build on this. So I can see you doing a little lesson, and you keep adding. And it says, okay, how about say, all right, give me another example of a parallel circuit with no, I said, give me, I already said that. Let's see, give me another example of a parallel circuit. Okay. Oh, it's beautiful. It's going to talk about where you practically would do these. And it says a common example of a parallel circuit is a house wiring system. In a house, each electrical device, light bulb, I would say a lamp, fan, television, etc., is connected to the main power supply independently, and each device has its own separate branch circuit. This allows each device to operate independently of the other and ensures that if one fails, it does not affect the operation of the other devices. Okay. Anyway, you can keep adding on and adding on to this. Okay. Can you show me a mathematical equation for a parallel circuit? Sure. Let's let it Ohm's law say it's talking a bunch of stuff. Okay. Wow. It's actually doing a little mini lesson. I being the current, by the way. Wow. So anyway, I think y'all get the point. No matter what you ask it, you can ask questions to find the answers. Okay. So I just think it's a neat thing. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna okay, let's do this last one here, and then I'm gonna show you some other stuff real quick. I got to show you tonight. When were solar panels first invented? That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's do that one. Okay. When were do I want to be detailed? When were photovoltaic solar panels invented? And is that what you're asking, Michael? Let's see. Oh, first invented. Okay. Well, it could say, I'll say first invented. Okay. Let's see what we get. Photovoltaic solar panels were first invented in the 1950s. The first solar cell was demonstrated by Bell Labs in 1954, and it had a conversion efficiency of just 4%. Well, that's crap. We've come a long way since then. Since then, the efficiency of solar panels has increased significantly, and they have become a widely used source of renewable energy. Okay. Then I could build onto this. I could go, what are the different types of solar panels made today? Oh, dude, too many requests in 1 hour. So I have to try again later. So that sucks. All right. So this is what it says when it limits you. Okay. It is limited. Now you're not going to all sit there and probably type the same amount of stuff that I did. Right. But obviously, I do want to try what are the different types? See if it kind of forgets. Can't be that smart. Different types of solar panels available. Too many responses. Okay. So we did quite a few responses. You're probably not going to need to do that many other responses. But again, it could be perfect timing. It kind of, boom. Now, Michael says it's 1883. Okay. Well, I can't do a follow-up. Okay. But it says the first solar cell was demonstrated in 1954. So I don't know if it was, mating. So again, at the end of the day, that's about the best we're going to get out of it. So anyway, it's not perfect, and I'm trying to see if I can get back to it. Let's see here if I can do it again. Bear with me here. I'm going to see if it'll reset. I don't think it will, but I'll try it. Hold on here. Let's see here. I'm going to try it. Let's see here. Wasn't the first solar panel invented in the 1800s? Now, watch it come back and say I've asked too many in the hour. Yeah, I've asked too many in the hour. Okay. So anyway, it's a good time to stop, but it's a free resource. But there are other ones out there that aren't limited, and they probably use the same database. So if you can find them. Now, I will tell you, I am looking to get one for our website. And so it should be integrated into the website if everything goes right. And I won't put a limit on it. And it's going to pull from this database, but it won't have the limitations on it. But don't hold me to that. That's something that I have in the works to try to get our own AI tool added to our website. All right. Anyway, let me go on to something else tonight and kind of tell you what we got going on. So y'all all probably heard that. Oh, I want to show you where you can get this, again, so you can get the GTP. This is the site that it's there, and you see where it says try it right there on the screen. So that is what you get when you want to go and you actually get the software. Okay. So that software is at openai.com. Okay. And so this is what you're going to get. And you just click right here, try a copy. Okay. And obviously it limits you to 1 hour. I didn't see that anywhere, but I guess I'm considered, I guess I'm considered a heavy user. Maybe that's what I'm considered a heavy user. I don't know. All right. So anyway, that's kind of neat to play with it. And I can't check that mic because I don't have it up anymore. I don't have it. It won't let me have it. All right, next thing. All right, so let's talk about the big thing was you can use that to create all kinds of things. Like I use it, for example, to ask tips. Like what are the top 10 tips for marketing? What are the top 10? And it actually does a better job of that, pulling back that kind of information. So again, it's a good resource for you. Okay, next thing I want to talk about real quick before we end tonight is wanted to show you another feature a program that we've added. And y'all have heard me talk about this, and I got another one, so hold on for a second before I show you the new thing that's coming. This right here is our professional project management tool and CRM, customer relationship management software. This is a program that's going to allow you to manage projects, times, teams, everything. And I'm going to be doing upcoming videos on this, but this is available at ppmbutler.com. And it has so many features, okay, that it has in it, right? So you'll be able to manage any project. You'll be able to do video conferencing. You'll be able to do so much in here. So if you own a company and you have a lot of projects going on, you'll have a lot of employees and you need to time them. You need to keep track of their hours. You need to keep expenses. You need to be able to have pictures on something on a job site and upload it. Maybe you have your sales staff or it doesn't have to be just for our industry. It can be for anything that has project management. So maybe you want to you arrive at a job site, let's say, and you have to take a picture to show that you were there. And then it uploads it into the system and the office can see that. Okay. So that's the kind of thing that we're doing with this system. And again, you see you have a bunch of different plans, but the key thing is get this trial right here. This trial, you can play with it for 7 days and beat it around all you want. All you got to do, and here's some of the features that it has: video conferencing, reports, finances. You can do invoices. You can do in-app purchases. You can do all kinds of things with this system. You can manage individuals, share tasks, get leads. You can write notes, to-do lists. You can do leave requests. All kinds of, this is so many things, timesheets, everything. And we'll go into this a little bit later not tonight, but when I do a little more detailed examples of this. But this is for anything where you have to manage people or you have potential projects to keep your projects from getting conflict, and it helps you finish things on time. So that's what that is. Okay. All right. So that's that. The next thing that I want to talk about is, and I'm going to have to type it up here for you, is we have, hold on here, let me see if I can find it for you. All right, so I got to type it in. And so I'm going to show you this for the first time. And I'm not going to get too detailed with it, but I need to let you know what we got coming. So you know how I like to let things out of the bag. So profile, okay, profile butler.com, okay? Okay, so Profile Butler is an actual site that is going to allow you to be able to create beautiful, what we call them, resume cards, profiles, not just for the phone, but for all different types of aspects, right? And it allows you to be able to use these and to put your resumes on, profiles on. It gives you a web presence. You know we sell apps, you build apps, but y'all know we talked about tradies apps. This is another element. We don't have to build the app for you. This is giving you your tool, and it has so many features in it, and we are going to make this so affordable for folks. And this means that every electrician, if you're looking for a job, this is what you put your resume. This is you put your job history and those type of things. So I want to show you an example of one real quick. Let me get going real quick, and I will actually show you one. And I think you're going to be amazed by it. I'll show you some examples of what these look like. Bear with me here. Let me load it. And we can look at some examples. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share this. Okay, so here is kind of some examples, right? You see some profiles. So you create your profile. It gets pretty deep, but this is the basics profile. All right. So you go down to these people. These aren't real people. Okay. By the way, they're just fictitious. We made up a fictitious site here to be able to show you this. But you would have your own profile and you would be able to share it. So if I view this individual's profile, this is what their profile will look like. And it's adapted to the phone. Here it can say whatever you want. It can have a hire me button that you share it with a potential employer. You share it as in an email. You share whatever your domain. You can have an about you. They can have a downloadable CV, which is basically like an electronic business card. You can have you put your skills. It's basically your resume, but we create it in a way that makes it so interactive. But that's just a sample of what we can do. And there's tons of different templates to work with. But you can see here that you'll have your portfolio. You could show all the different projects. The buttons can link to anything you want it. What a client's saying, if you have testimonials, if you've written blogs, your blogs can be in there. Contact form, everything on it. This is just one example of how it works. So we kind of go back and let's look at a different one. We'll go down and look at this one here. And so this is another style that has, again, you can have all your social media links, and this is adaptive to the phone. So here's the beautiful thing. You can make a website. You don't have to have a hosting plan. You don't have to know how to do any of that. And you can have a dynamic, interactive, and you are going to get access to edit things, and it's so simple, drop and click, that anybody could do it. But it's still so powerful and dynamic. If you're looking for a job or you need something to be able to share with employers or to share with other people, or maybe you're an owner of a business and you want a presence, you want your business on there, you want the ability to have people order your products on there, you can have anything on this, okay? You can have your blogs, portfolios, your services. There's these different portfolios, right? And you click it and it'll load the different portfolios, right? And so you can have this be anything you want. You can scroll through it, go back to the home. And this is just another example of one of the actual ones that we're going to have, okay? All right, so again, let's go back. And these, again, are adaptive, right, to your phone. So it works on a desktop and everything. So we'll go down here and let's see here. We'll look at, let's see here. Let's go try this one right here. All right, so here's another one. And notice along the side, this is where your navigation buttons go. Here's your downloads, the CV, so they can instantly click it on their phone and get your business card. Now, we can also adapt these to the NFC that we sell, or the black dot. Y'all heard us talk about black dot technology. We can actually add it into a black dot, whereas basically you just tap your phone, they tap your phone to their phone and boom, loads it instantly, that type of thing. Or they take their phone and hold it to your little dot or your little fob or whatnot. We have all of that we can do for you. But this is this allows us this flexibility to do this. And let's see if I go back. And there's so many other ones. Let's look at this view here. So this is another style. Any of these things can be changed. There's your resume. All this can be changed in the background. There's features that can be added, videos, images. Here's job and education experience. So again, this is a living resume. So if you're looking for a job, this is going to be something that you can have. But we see this to be used, any business can now have a mobile presence very easily with endless possibilities. And that's what we see this as. So you don't have to be set up just like this. So this could actually be used as your website, that type of thing. And so that's kind of a neat little thing that we're doing. So that is going to be called profilebutler.com. Okay. And so again, that's in the works. We expect that to be done by the end of next week, and it'll be live as well. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this ecosystem we're building. We're going to be giving away a lot of this stuff. Okay. I didn't want to say anything the other time, but I'll say it now. We're going to be giving away things. Okay. Like when you get our training courses, then you'll get a free account on the Profile Butler. And if, so there's be different things that we're going to be giving away as we get further on in the development here, but each one of these are standalone. Now, with that said, this also brings me to what I wanted to talk about, our websites. Okay, so we'll end on that. Great episode tonight, a lot of information. And I will tell you, I have a guest that's going to be joining us in the next couple weeks. And that guest is an expert in electrical safety. And he's going to be on our show. And he teaches OSHA and he teaches NFPA 70E. And he's going to be a guest on the show. So that hopefully we'll have that by next week. But that's an upcoming show. All right. So websites. If you're a Fast Tracks customer, you're going to do everything that you've done before. You're simply going to go to Cengage.com, or you're going to go through our portal. You can still get to Cengage.com through our websites. Okay. There's a button on there. That is not changing at all. Why are we creating Fast Tracks Chat, which Michael might be over in there now? Why are we creating Fast Tracks Chat, the Sparky Hub, the Fast Tracks Tube? Why are we creating so many websites, yet they're not interlinked? I'll tell you why. Now, the Fast Tracks system is our parent site. Okay, that's going to be our new site. There is nothing on there that you need to get an account for unless you're buying a course. The videos are not going to be on there. Now we are going to have courses on there that you got to get an account to do the course. So if you want to sign up on fasttracksystem.com, you can, but it's not imperative. Okay. It's not going to be the same as the site we have now on Electrical Code Academy, where you go there to get the videos. All of our videos moving forward are going to be over on Fast Tracks Tube. And when that's complete, everybody that has an account, like an annual membership over on the Electrical Code Academy website, you will automatically get an email about moving over to Fast Tracks Tube, and you will get your information, and you all will get a free year of access to everything. Okay? So that's the type of thing. So don't worry. So when people ask me, Paul, my email and login doesn't work on the new sites because you're using the one from our old Electrical Code Academy site. That's because every site is different. Now, why would I do that? I'll tell you why. Because maybe you only want to go to the chat room to ask a question or interact on the chat. Well, that's a separate website. You just go to fasttrackschat.com. You can chat with Michael, chat with everybody, leave a message. Somebody comes in later, they'll answer your message. You can go back and check later. They might be live, or just type something in there and leave it and come back later. That's the beautiful thing about the chat feature. Okay. There's customer support there. So if you're having a problem with your program or you're asking a question, then you can type a question there and customer support will answer it. Just remember to come back later. All right. The beautiful thing about Fast Tracks Chat also is you don't have to have an account. You can come in as a guest if you want, but it's so much easier to register an account, right? So you register the account. Now, the Sparky Hub. The Sparky Hub is just an extension of our Fast Track system, but all it is a message board system. Maybe you want to use the message boards, but you don't want to log into the Fast Track System website, or you don't have any products of ours. Like, oh, he has no products of ours, but he likes to interact with other people. Well, then you can go and register for the the Sparky Hub, and you don't have to worry about Fast Track System. You just register over at thesparkyhub.com. Okay. The Fast Tracks Tube. Why is that separate? Because people want to buy a subscription to the videos, get access to exclusive videos and all these type of things, but they're not buying our courses. I don't want to force that down your throat. If you just want videos, then you can go to fasttrackstube.com and you can get access to videos. There's a reason we're not interconnecting them, okay? And it's the same reason why tons of you out there on the Electrical Code Academy website, there's a reason why some of you email me, I don't have my password, I forgot my password, I have to do that. That's confusing. We'll eliminate that confusion. Every site is standalone. Don't ask me if I register for one, can I use that to get into the other one? No, you can't. The only way you can do that on your own is if when you go to register for any of these sites, use the same email and the same password when you register. That way, no matter which site you go to log in, you just use the same email and the same password. And that way, it's almost like they're interconnected, but you had to manually do it. We're doing this on purpose, folks, because over the years, we have seen major confusion with a password that tries to encompass different features. It is too confusing in the system. And before I used Wix, and I had no ability to get in there and ferret this crap out. Well, with these new systems, I can. And the customer service feature over at Fast Track's chat will allow you to come in and ask a question, and I can go in the system and try to solve your issue. That's why we did it, okay? Now, hopefully that clears it up for everybody, but everybody that's a Fast Track student, nothing changes. You're going to log into your Fast Tracks program just like you always did. In fact, you never logged into our website at Electrical Code Academy to do your Fast Tracks program. You never did, because that's not where it is. So nothing changes with how you get to your course. Now, in the future, we have courses over on fasttracksystem.com? Absolutely. In fact, I got a free one over there now you can go do for free on enclosures and boxes. It's totally free. Now, to get that free course, you're going to have to register over on fasttracksystem.com because I'm offering you a course on that website. Other than that, you wouldn't need to register if you don't want to, okay? Now, for everybody that still has an annual membership to our videos, even when the new studio's done and a bunch of videos start coming out when that new studio is launched, we're kind of saving that for the hey, we're here now, here's our new studio. Don't worry. By then, we're going to be shifted to the new Fast Tracks Tube. So don't worry. And you're going to get all the instructions you need to be able to segue over to the new site. Don't worry. Don't even try to stress it right now. No stress. We got you covered. Not going to be a problem. Promise. Okay? Promise. It'll be easy. All right? And we're even looking at a way to import, as long as Wix will release the information in a file, like an Excel file, then we'll take care of that for you. Or you'll get an email from us with instructions, and it'll be easy peasy, okay? But right now, don't do anything. Now, if you want to make your life really, really simple, and I think Michael alluded to that, you want to make your life really, really simple, then get our free app, okay? The free app is going to make your life so much simpler. Get the free app. Just go to www.necchat.com. Okay. Just go and get the free app. There you go, right here. And it's free. And you can get access to, you can get access to Fast Tracks Tube. You can get access to the Sparky Hub. You can get access to Fast Tracks Chat, all from your phone. And here's another thing. Here's a little secret. You know that the app that you use, the address you use to put this on your phone when you install this app, it also works in a browser. It actually works in a browser. You don't have to download it. You want to see an example of that? Let me show you. Let me go to our website, right? Because some people ask about that. So let me see if I can't do this real quick. Let's go to fasttracksystem.com. All right, so here's my Fast Track System website. I'll show you what that looks like. Y'all seen it before, and I'm only doing this to give you an example. So here's the website, right? So up here, you see where it says mobile app? That is right here. When I click it, see here it says this web address. Copy it, copy link address, and I will go into another tab and I will paste it. All right, now watch this. You're all gonna love this, okay? Check it out. Isn't this the same as it looks on your phone? So some people save this to their desktop. And that is why we switched to this app. It's called a PWA. And not only does it work on your phone, but it also works on a tablet. It also works on a desktop. All you got to do is copy that URL and place it, and watch this. Everything's available here. I can click the podcast. So I'll click the podcast button. There's all of our podcasts right there. Right? I'll go back. Let's see here. I'll click the Sparky Hub. Okay. The Sparky Hub. Now I've got that set to open up in a totally different browser. So that's what it opens up, and it opens up into its own little separate browser, okay, right on your desktop. So you can have that basically sitting off to the side, running all the time. And that way, if somebody comes into the room, it'll send you a little notice. Or if you have the chat, it'll do the same thing. It'll make a little sound to let you know somebody's in the chat room, okay? So that's pretty neat. All right, so let's go back here, and I'll take you back here. This is pretty neat. So here's the chat feature. I'll click the chat. Chat does the same thing. I'll show you what that looks like. Here it opens up a little browser. Okay, on the screen, it's only showing it as a little browser, but it's actually, you can move it all around the screen, anywhere you want. And I can log right into it, sign the agreement, log in, and here you go. And actually, it's hard to show you this, but it's actually sitting as a separate little browser on my desktop that I can move around anywhere I want. Again, there's reasons that we're doing all this. We're trying to, once you get used to it, I think you're going to love all the stuff that we're bringing. So I will go in. Here's Michael's chatting away. Here he goes. Here's Michael's. Here he's state right here. He says, really like the new system and apps. Paul, I see you slowing down. I see you slowed down in the past 2 months. Yeah, I've really slowed down, haven't I? PPM Butler, Profile Butler, working on the new studio, buying Black.NFC, buying all kinds of stuff, and we're expanding, and we're still doing videos. Dude, we are, I get amped up because I think we're offering so many things that if people will just use them, they will fall in love with them. Okay, but anyway, here's Michael over here posting away, right? And notice he's posting the same questions over here as he's been in the chat. Okay, now the difference over here is actually I should have done this, Michael. There you go. Thank you for the info, Paul. Have a great night. You know what? I could have actually opened up the chat while I was doing the show, right? And I could have left clicked over it, right click, and I could have copied it. And guess what? Then I could have pasted that in there. So this is neat. You can have the chat running over on the desktop as well. Okay. So that is so cool. I'll get rid of that and shut that down. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to let everybody go tonight. I've kept you longer than I should have. Play with our sites. Peruse them. Remember, you've got bunch of different things that you can play with on our site and get used to it. And if you're looking for your own mobile app or you're looking for your own web page and you want to make it simple, easy, and anybody can create it, you don't have to have any experience. That's why we bought the company. We bought the rights to be able to expand it. And let me tell you what, it's going to make it whereas you can have an adaptive website, whether it's a profile or it's a portfolio, or it's an online resume, or it's your mobile app. We're creating things to make it easier for you and make it cost effective. And we want you to be able to share it with people and get that job or get that promotion or whatever. Sky's the limit. Whatever you can think about using it for, we're going to create an idea for it. All right. Okay, folks, I appreciate all of you. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's episode. Make sure you join us maybe next week if we can get it all lined up. We're going to have a special guest, and we're going to talk about OSHA. We're going to talk about some job site incidents, and we're going to look at it, talk about 70E. And I'm going to have a new product feature, not my product. It's a new industry product feature next week. I'm not going to tell you what the product is, and it is not in the wire and cable industry. Okay. And so hopefully you'll join us next week. And if I can find more tools for you to be able to use, like the AI tools, I will share them so that you can expand your resources. Okay. All right, folks, that's it. Hopefully you got something out of tonight's episode. Till next time, stay safe and God bless.